Okay. Yeah, I have gotten to this chapter. Actually, I haven't read the rest, but I really am curious and um, about from the book Radical Honesty, the seventh chapter. And what I want to do is read just a piece, 1-2 pages of it, and talk about it. Talk about my perception of it. So the chapter is 7, How to Deal with Anger. Something really important to me. Blanton puts a quote in front of it from Sam Keen, who I don't know who he is. I'll just read the quote. It says, "We human beings are Homo hostilus, the hostile species, the enemy-making animal. We are driven to fabricate an enemy as a scapegoat to bear the burden of our denied enmity." Um, I will start reading in a sec, but I just want to say um, I don't too much like the quote, and not because how can I say that? Yeah, because I believe in the core of humans or of any being, of any living being is love. That the love that perpetuates the whole of the universe. So to stand there and define humans as Homo hostilus is like is is not what is true to who we are. And I think it's a how to say in English, I say it in German, I look it up and I put an annotation, Verzerrung, a kind of like a deformation of reality, of real reality, of who we really are. And I don't really feel too good about that quote. On the other hand, of course, what I guess was Blanton's intention mainly, and what I do appreciate about the whole chapter and about the quote in a way, is that in a way to accept that part of who we are is being angry and is being aggressive, is that this is some kind of not even just normal part of who we are, but a healthy and necessary, already is also is not enough, a healthy part of our beingness. Um, and yeah, maybe what I want to add here, and which I miss in that quote definitely, is that this aggression is also some form of love. I can't go. I That's something that I feel in my guts. It's not something that's here in my mind so much. I know that, and well, maybe we get closer to that as well. So let me read the chapter, or the starting, just the first, let's say, yeah, it's the first paragraph, kind of. Um, a famous war story tells of a platoon of soldiers who had been fighting together as a unit for some time. One night, an enemy soldier lobbed a grenade into their midst. For a few seconds everyone froze. Suddenly, a private dove on the grenade with his helmet. It detonated under him. The man was destroyed, but the other men were saved by his heroism. One outstanding characteristic of human beings is that they are sometimes willing to sacrifice their lives to save others. Such acts of courage are honored as they should be as the highest expression of love. Many of us deal with anger in much the same way as the private in the story deals with the grenade. We consider anger a life-threatening experience. Anger wells up in us, seemingly from out of nowhere, and we imagine it will imagine it will injure everyone we love if we let it go off. Without even thinking, we smother the anger the way the private smothered the grenade. We sacrifice ourselves to protect our friends and family. What makes meaningless sacrifices look like heroism is ignorance. History is full of pitiful, wonderful, dumb-assed heroes who sacrificed their lives to save those they loved from some bullshit threat that seemed real at the time but turned out to be imaginary. The tragedy of the useless sacrifice of life has been around for as long as human beings have been around and will remain central to the definition of humanity until we learn to create ourselves differently. Our greatest heroism, our willingness to surrender life itself for our loved ones, and our greatest tragedy, the mistaken and useless sacrifice of our own and others' lives for meaningless causes, are central to the tragic joke we are. Nowhere is the waste of courage and love better demonstrated than in everyday cases of the unsung heroes of anger. In every case, the hero is a fool. His courage is wasted. The hero's fear of the devastating effect of anger is entirely unrealistic. He or she overestimates the destructive power of anger and feels that it must be controlled even if it means sacrificing his or her life. What is even worse is that the poor fool dies over and over again, a little piece at a time. Anger is not a grenade. Many of us consider ourselves to be heroes and heroines when we are just damned fools. Only the people who live with such heroic fools seem to recognize them for what they really are. Such recognition exacerbates the problem, for nothing pisses your average fool off more than having to live with a damned ingrate who doesn't appreciate the heroic sacrifices that have been made for his or her benefit. To make things worse, the damned ingrate usually sees himself or herself as another unappreciated hero sacrificing self-expression for the health of the relationship. As we accumulate resentment for not being appreciated for sacrificing our lives to protect others, our acts of love and courage become poisoned memories. The person who loved you and whom you used to love becomes the biggest pain in the ass of your life. The contrast between self-perception and perception by others stands out clearly in my work with couples and families, in which I am privy to the ongoing arguments between martyr heroes and hero martyrs. People really get mad when they are resented for withholding anger, something for which they feel they should be appreciated. But, contrary to popular belief, people resent being withheld from and lied to. Withheld anger destroys relationships by sucking the aliveness out of them. For aliveness to be restored, both to the relationships and the individual, anger must be expressed. Yes, so where to start with that? I don't what I don't want to do is make it an intellectual debate per se. It's more getting to the value it has for me, and what of what he says I want to disregard. And in general, I just want to say what I really don't like about the book is the therapeutical approach, or not so much like, I mean, the intention of personal development, of course, is always, I really appreciate that, but I really don't, am not appreciative of therapists and therapy and anything that's got to do with therapy. And I know I am overgeneralizing. There must be some few people and maybe even approaches that I could appreciate, but I really, in general, I really think it's one of the major, no, not major, I don't want to go all overboard, but I really, really think it's something that's not for the good of people. So, but that taken aside, and it's not very prominent here in this paragraph, especially what he says in the end. Withheld anger destroys relationships by sucking the aliveness out of them. For aliveness to be restored, both to the relationships and the individual, anger must be expressed. I don't know. What I don't like about the book is that it has some. It's also very overgeneralizing and saying that's the way for that it has to be for everyone, and I just don't like that. For one, because I would say you can never know. You really just judge from your limited perspective, and even there, I suspect him of overgeneralizing, even though he must have had experiences where what he says has not proven true, and and I don't like that. I don't like that what he's. It's not that I don't like what he says, the essence of his messages, but the way he's conveying them is sometimes it's annoying because it kind of puts you in a position of you're either all in or out. Um, so yeah, but the question of feeling alive or not alive in relation to expressing or suppressing anger, or taking it a little bit more general, any negative emotion or positive emotion, and especially anger. I hope for myself to get to a point where I feel good about the thought of openly and freely expressing my anger, because I get very intensely angry. It's like when I get angry, it's if I do express it in words, it's like an energy shockwave that comes. Um, it kind of shakes everyone up who's in the shakes myself up, but it shakes everyone. Everyone up that is kind of in the pathway of that. Um, so yes, it's certainly something that's alive. But what I wanted to say is I want to feel good about it, and my great hope is by doing these videos and reading with such detailed vision, that this chapter here is to really get more to a place of being okay with expressing my anger, directly expressing my anger, regardless of the reaction I receive from the other, or the reaction that I expect from the other. So, and yeah, just having a more general appreciation for anger, really, and for the expression of anger. That's really the point here. And what else do I want to say? Yes, I don't know if it's always necessary to express the anger. Not maybe it is, but I just don't know. That's what I want to say. Um, but mm, yeah, I feel it's a. I mean, he's getting to that later in the chapter, but I just want to say it now. Anger cannot be really suppressed. Or let's say you can't make anger, it will always surface again. And the only effect the suppression of anger has is that it, on the one hand, cuts you off from your aliveness, and on the other, surfaces in indirect ways and thereby really truly poisons everything. Because anger, I guess, wants to be expressed. The maybe taking it to taking it to a further level would be to say the most intense form of anger is feeling dead inside and feeling disconnected with others, because that would be the only way you can suppress anger, by disconnecting yourself completely from anger. And then anger, like by making anger your enemy, it's kind of like the anger who is truly your friend you make your enemy, and then your essence, who you really are, becomes your enemy. Yeah. Yeah, and this yeah, and the other thing that he says about how we assume that um, the uh, the effect of expressing our anger would be devastating and totally destructive, and that we always overestimate the impact that our anger has, is something that I can't say much more than that's interesting in a way. I don't know, but I hope that this is the case, because I'm really, really scared of the effects of my own anger. That's why I keep suppressing, and or at least with withholding, he would say. I keep fake expressing it in a way. I keep pretend to express it, but I don't express it to its full extent, and that's kind of maybe the most painful thing that I could do to myself, because everybody believes I've expressed it, but I haven't, and that makes me really, really lonely. Yeah, and I'm just, while talking about it, I can just feel my anger rising at one particular person, but persons in general who have such a problem with anger, because in their face, and since I'm so scared of the destructive power of my anger, is that, and they vibrate that, they give you that vibe of, if you get angry, it's something really, really bad's gonna happen. It's like you're gonna destroy me or something. I get even more angry. I get really, really, I feel the hatred. Mm. The hatred that says I don't, Let me be me. And that's exactly this, what right now I'm suppressing the feeling. I fake express it. And in a way I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss. How can I really express it? The anger. It scares me. It scares me to express my anger. Yeah, so much for now. I hope I'll continue this. I think it's a valuable thing to do, and I'll be most appreciative of any comments that you have, anything that you want to share from your experience, your thoughts on the subject, any radically honest feedback. Well, I'd say I'm also scared of it, but I want it, and if you're really radically honest, you'd be giving it anyways. Yeah, I think I stop here now. See you next time.